In this video, I'm going to talk about developing a life philosophy. This is one of the most important things that you can do, and it's certainly going to change over time as you experience new things and your values may change, then your overall life philosophy will change. This is something that can certainly be influenced by organized religion. It can also be influenced by different ways that you might want to make decisions or solve problems in a given situation or time in your life. But for me personally, I'm one of those people that I'm unable to believe in organized religion just because my brain doesn't work that way. Some people can, and I think that's fantastic. I've tried to study different religions. I've tried to have some sort of base for organized religion that I can use for my own life philosophy and decision making and things like that. But I just can't latch on to any one of them, and I think that's normal. Most animals, with humans being a type of animal, are unable to believe in any sort of religion or have that guide their way of life. Most animals go off of instinct or just basic problem solving based on what they see in their environment and hear and that sort of thing. So I would say for me, the general outline of my life philosophy would be to focus on the process and not the outcome, because what I've realized is that luck is a huge factor in life. So the outcome could be positive, even though you put in little effort and did all the wrong things, or obviously it could be negative, even though you did everything right and tried your best. So it's much better to judge success and failure based on the process as opposed to the end result. Also, consistent effort will give you the best results more than short sprints of intensity. In my experience, this is true. Obviously, other people may disagree with that, but I just think if you put in a little bit of effort each day or each week and you maintain that for many months or years or decades, then that's going to give you better results than the short sprints. There may be a time and a place for that, but overall, I think the consistent effort is better. A small amount of consistent effort over time is better than a large amount of effort in a short period of time. Also, something's not a goal until it's written down and there's a clear plan of action each day to accomplish the goal. So you can have things in your head that kind of come and go. You can have some sort of way that you want to do something, but that can kind of shift and change and you can lose focus. But if you write things down and you have a clear plan and you stick with that, so maybe an end goal in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, and then you break that down into monthly goals and then weekly and daily action plans to accomplish that, then that's probably going to be best. You can't predict the future, so you need some level of diversification of how you spend your time and invest your money. Investing money is something that people talk about a lot, so that's an obvious thing, and you're going to find that lots of people will have advice about that. There's things all over the internet or whatever thing exists where you're getting your information in the future and listening to this video. But I think diversifying your time is interesting. Not only can that yield you a variety of positive results in your life where there might be diminishing returns, like you spend all your time on one or two things. It's like, yeah, you might become better at that, but unless you're going to become world class and make that your living and there's sort of exponential amounts of income or some sort of like grand prize involved, then you're probably going to notice there's significant diminishing returns to how you spend your time. So using the 80-20 principle for a lot of things may be best, where it's like where 20% of your effort is going to yield 80% of the results, and then apply that to maybe 5 or 10 different things or aspects of your life. And so that can allow you to get the most satisfaction out of things, and you're getting sort of the best bang for your buck of the investment of your time in terms of in terms of getting quite a bit out of it without experiencing significant diminishing returns. The next thing would be most of the things you worry about either never happen or they do happen, but they're not nearly as bad as you expected. So a lot of anxiety people have in life is basically for nothing. And people end up spending a lot of time worrying about things that never happen. Of course, you want to think about what is the worst case scenario and then do the things necessary to mitigate that. So, kind of coming back to the diversification, using the 80-20 principle and saying, how can I spend 20% of my time to get 80% of the results? Would be, if you have anxiety about, oh, I could die from doing X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, if you drive your car, go the speed limit, wear a seatbelt, things like that. Look before you change lanes. Like there's a few basic things you can do that are going to reduce the chances of a deadly car accident significantly. And then beyond that, there's not much you can do. So you're better off spending your time and your mental energy on the things that are going to have the most positive impact on your life, and then just don't worry about the other things. And that's one of the most important points, if not the most important point, for someone who has quite a bit of genetic anxiety built into them. The next point would be short-term struggle will bring long-term satisfaction. So both for yourself as well as other people. If you, for example, get results really quickly, not only will you not appreciate the end result and accomplishing the goals and things like that, other people won't give you a lot of credit for it. If you're very young or you've spent very little time on something, people will naturally discredit you for that. You get some satisfaction yourself from things, but a lot of it is other people giving you credit for things will bring you the satisfaction. And that's not to say you don't want some sort of internal drive be the main thing that's guiding you in life, but it's going to kind of suck if you start a business and a year later it's worth millions of dollars, and then not only do people not give you credit because they just say it was luck, but they actually hate you because everyone else put in much more time and effort and is probably smarter than you and all these other traits that they're basically better than you at, but you just got lucky and they didn't. And so now you're in this weird situation where it seems like you accomplished your goals so fast and it should be a good thing. But overall, many of these people who have these outsized results really quickly actually are not very satisfied in the long run. So having some sort of struggle before accomplishing your long-term goals can definitely be a good thing. So that's what I would say would be something to focus on. The next thing would be almost no one gives a fuck about you, but that can actually be a good thing because the people you think are judging you aren't even paying attention to you. So this is one of those areas that is kind of weird. It goes along with the short-term struggle and long-term satisfaction with what I was saying, how people will give you much more credit and they'll like you more if you struggle a bit at the beginning. And so if something really good happens to you, people probably won't like you as much. Whereas if something bad happens to you, they either don't care or they actually like you more. Like if you work really hard at something and then get unlucky and you lose your house and you lose your business, or like something like that happens that is out of your control, then people often will have actually they like you more because of that, because there's some sort of relatability, there's some sort of struggle to it. And by comparison, they actually look better. So this is one of those things where it's like if you have a bad hair day, people like that because by comparison, they look better. It's kind of a weird thing, but you'll notice human nature is pretty consistent in that regard. And then the next point is reputation is everything. And the destruction of that reputation will probably cause you more pain than almost anything else because your reputation will live forever. So in day-to-day life, your reputation is incredibly important, whether it be your personal reputation among your family and friends, or if you're a little bit of a public figure, obviously that becomes a major thing, as well as, for example, your reputation at work are all incredibly important. And you need the benefit of the doubt when it comes to reputation, or else you could get screwed. And sometimes that means small things, like you commit a small crime, like maybe you steal something from a convenience store and maybe your friends know about it. it's not a big deal. You're not caught. But if something comes up where your reputation, your morals, and things like that are in question, well, those small, stupid things you did that you didn't think were a big deal could come to bite you in the ass. Like maybe a woman accuses you of raping her, and if all of your friends know that you didn't really pay attention to the law, yeah, and small things like, oh, I, go 20 miles over the speed limit, and I, like I said, petty theft and things like that. Well, then when there's a much more significant crime, people are not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And so your life could be ruined because of these small little things you thought weren't a big deal. Because leading up to that one bigger thing, you could get absolutely screwed, even if you did nothing on it. So, the next point, number 9, would be sometimes it's better to just start instead of plan too much. Things will change anyways once you're in motion, and your past plans will be obsolete. So, this is one of those things where it's like paralysis by analysis. People wait a really long time to do something, to start something. It's the classic, like, oh, I'll start next week, I'll start next month, I'll start next year, whether it be fitness goals or making money or building better relationships with family and friends, or even smaller things that might not have as big of an impact on you. People procrastinate. And sometimes when you just get started, where you say, okay, my end goal is going to be this, like just to make it easy, it's like you're very overweight and you want to lose 100 pounds of body fat. It's just better to focus on, well, what am I going to do in day one? Maybe I don't focus on diet. I just focused on exercise to get in a routine. And then if I go walk for an hour and, I burn some calories, it's like, well, I don't just want to have one piece of pizza that negates all of that work that I did. So it can be reinforcing your diet to just kind of get started. And once you lose 1 pound, then it gives you a little bit of confidence to lose 2 and 3, and then you can go from there. Point 10 is do things imperfectly. Perfection is a progression killer, and the early steps of anything will be messy, and you can kind of clean it up later. Um, this is something that, when done correctly, is incredibly important. If it's done incorrectly, then the mistakes you make could be catastrophic. So you always want to be thinking of high upside, low downside. Like if there's an absolute failure, then the low downside means it might take a little bit of money or a little bit of your time, but it's not going to be catastrophic to you. And the high upside is, well, if things start working and moving in a good direction, then you can easily build on that and, accomplish your goals, accomplish your dreams. Like really great things can happen to you. So those are the 10 major points of my life philosophy. And it's something that will certainly change over time. But for me, based on my own life experiences and where I am at this point in my life, that would be the best fit. So that's it for today.